4th of February in the year 2020. 2020, the year of vision, the year of perfect eyesight. Okay, I had to mute the watch page as per usual. 4 thumbs down. That's it? Really? I just started. I mean, come on, guys. Let's step it up here. Trolls be slacking. Lacius Laced has the wrench. Ramsey's Truth Brother 777 has the wrench. Born Again Veteran. What is up, brother? Rain Cry 527. Mom's DIY. Georgia Boy. What's up? Moxie McMahon. The Big Sip. Beat the cold already. I am good, he says. Brandon, don't F around. Sick tut. Nice. Light in the darkness. Nice. Penn Woodsman 4. What's up? Anonymous. What's up? Broken Reality has the wrench. Waking Up. Lisa Messenger. Andrew Potter has the wrench. How does Big Siv not have a wrench? That doesn't even make sense. At any rate, Forged Outlaw. What's up? Blake Holder. What's up? Ocean Gypsy has the wrench. Light in the Darkness, Prayed Up Productions, Dan Hightower, Roasted Scorpion, and that is it, except for Laura Kimball and Pammy Jean and Jeffrey Kent and Loki, Ryan, and Rise and Shine. Now that is it. What's up, everybody? I don't have all that much right now, but I do have to do this video because I just spent a long time videotaping the moon. I started when it was daylight, and I kept going until it was dark, and the cold kept killing my camera over and over and over and over again. And then strangely, it came to me exactly what the moon is. So check this out real quick. This is a video I took. I just threw this together, but this is video footage that I took today. And it is in 4K. It's in high definition. This is the moon. We've all seen it. There it is. The strange thing is I can zoom in on this thing with a P1000 so much that it's ridiculous. It is just totally ridiculous. And when you do zoom in on it, you can clearly see that it has liquid near it. They call it atmospheric lensing. They claim that the atmosphere is so dense that it causes what appears to be waves, like heat waves, when you look down a long, hot-topped road. Do you know what I'm saying? You follow me? You see what you got me? We good? You follow? The problem with that theory of atmospheric lensing is, how come I can get such incredibly magnificent detail? How come people are videotaping what appears to be a lunar wave resetting like an old laptop monitor? And here's another thing. Look at all these craters that I can zoom in all I want. I mean, it's perfect. That is incredibly clear. Every single solitary one of those craters is perpendicular. There's none at an angle. There's none at a slant. So, according to what we're seeing and according to what NASA's thrown up all over us all over the years, space debris hit the moon apparently nonstop and constantly, yet we didn't get hit at all. But it hit the moon nonstop and constantly and left all these perfect circles absolutely everywhere. Well, I was looking at that and I was thinking, as I often do, and where is it? It's right here. I found something that makes a lot of sense. Now, I've shown you the videos of the scientists that were in the mainstream before the alleged moon landing happened, okay? There were scientists being interviewed by mainstream media in the early 60s, and they were saying to anybody that would listen, we've been studying the moon for a long time because we're scientists, and the moon is a plasma. It is not a rock. It can't be landed on. You can't shoot men on the top of rockets in a little bear can through outer space up to the moon, where suddenly the capsule breaks away from the spaceship. It turns itself around. It lands perfectly. The guys get out. They play golf. They jump around. They sing little songs. They get back in the bear can. The beer can takes off again and then lands in the ocean, where they pick them up with a military battleship or a freighter or whatever. All is well. NASA told us there was a thing called the Van Allen belts, which was this incredibly thick band of radiation. Now, if I live in Boston, okay, we have things in Boston called museums. We also have a place called the Boston Museum of Science, and I've been there a bazillion times in this particular lifetime, and they have an exact replica of the space capsule that took astronauts to the moon. You know what I'm saying? And it's an exact replica. The thing is I could build a better one on my patio where I build Land Cruiser apparatus and such. If anybody was ever inside that bear can aluminum held together with duct tape, not even built as good as a Prius space capsule, and they went through things called the Van Allen belt, all of them would have died. From what they've told us about radiation, all of them would have died before they re-entered our atmosphere and landed in the ocean, but none of them did. And ironically, everyone that actually made it to the moon, including Buzz Aldrin, lived to an incredibly old age. And when questioned about going through the Van Allen belts, these astronauts went, well, geez, I don't know. I think we were okay. I think all was well. Yeah. Maybe in the days of social media, that would work, where people don't know anything. Everything they know is from what their phone tells them. Hey, what do you think? Hold on, let me ask Google. Google thinks I don't think anything. Well, Google's probably right. But some of us still actually think about things. Some of us actually enjoy science, enjoy nature. Some of us don't have a television. We don't watch a television because a television is a weapon that's being used against Americans perfectly. It amazes me how many awake YouTubers are on here, and they're constantly referring their subscribers who subscribe to them because they believe that they're awake and the information that they're giving them is valid. And yet they refer to, oh, last night I was watching the show on television and somebody made an Illuminati signal. And yeah, guess what? I don't tell my subscribers to watch television. I actually tell my subscribers to get rid of your television, because television isn't just a bad thing. It's a weapon, and we've shown you the patents. But I digress. Let me fix my hat. There we go. I don't know if the backwards hat police are in the chat tonight, but my hat is on backwards like it always is, but there's that. So I'm looking at the moon, and I'm looking at all the craters on there that make absolutely no sense if this is a celestial body floating around, orbiting our Earth, getting laced, getting nailed, getting whacked by meteors and space debris to the point that it's absolutely pockmarked. And then I found this. You see that? You see those little things? Let me play this for you. It's not very long because it's very difficult to find images of frozen oxygen. But that is frozen oxygen. Can you see that? Do you see those craters? Do they look familiar? Yeah, because frozen oxygen would be considered a type of a plasma. The scientists that came up with the theory that the moon was made of plasma never really got to run with it too much because they faked the moon landing and the whole thing went out the window. Do you know what I'm saying? Science has a really good method of eating their own. If you don't agree with the status quo, they just make you go away, or they label you a quack or whatever, or blah, blah, blah. We've seen it happen a million times. All the scientists agree about global warming. Well, that's not true in any way whatsoever at all. Thousands upon thousands of scientists and scientists with PhDs in science majors, etc., signed a petition saying that global warming was not only wrong, it was incredibly bad science. Well, they just brushed all those guys aside, and they're all gone now. And science is now run by people like, I don't know, Greta Thunberg, Bill Nye, the science guy, who's actually just an actor. And Greta Thunberg is actually just an actress. These are actors. They're not real people. But in America, you don't have to know what you're talking about for people to listen to you. You know how I can tell you that? Because you're listening to me right now. But there's that. But I'll tell you what, At least when you're listening to me, I'm telling you information that I get from people that are smarter from me, or I got from people like yourselves, or at least I show the patents, or I show their own words. These people are simply and only reading a script of lies, and they've been doing it for absolutely ever. It's amazing to me, and yet here it is. This is a light. This is a light, and the way the moon is tonight, it's a little bit past half full. You can really see that it's a light because just look at the shape of it. Look at the edges of it. If this was reflecting sunlight, it would make no sense to the way that it looks. Look at that. Let me see if I can get a good still shot right there. How's that? That's not a good. How about that? Yeah, that's a light. That's not a planet reflecting sunlight or blah, blah, blah. This is a self-illuminated object that's in the sky, and it's probably something like frozen oxygen, which probably explains why going online, like you can go online and get images of absolutely anything. The strange thing is when you use Google to look up anything, the first thing that it returns with is porn, which is probably great for the children and the youth of America. But again, I digress. Trying to get images of frozen oxygen is incredibly difficult. That's a red flag right there. Just my opinion. Stand by. I need to drink some non-frozen H2O. No fluoride for this old boy. You see what I'm saying? All right, let me jump in the chat again. Several scientists actually were almost positive it was science. It was plasma, Megan F. But why not leave a comment that's completely wrong? Because who cares, right? Who cares? Many scientists were under the impression, because that's how science used to work. They would come to a conclusion and they would run it by a panel of scientists. Do you see what I mean? And then they would have a spokesperson go to the news or the media, which is what they did. So you saw one spokesperson and you left one comment. Well, he was right, you were wrong. So we'll just call it 50-50 and split it down the middle. So there's that. Exactly. Delicious H2O and no fluoride. So there's that. All right. Again, trying to find images of frozen oxygen is almost impossible. If you can find frozen oxygen images, email them to me, because I had a hard time finding them, but I only spent about 10 minutes looking for them. So there's that. Is that Big Berkey H2O? Yes. And the best thing about Big Berkeys is you take those incredibly expensive filters, you take them out, you put an air compressor on them, and you blow them out backwards, and you can use them forever. You don't have to keep buying $200 filters. Don't tell Big Berkey I said that. So there's that. All right, let me see what else we got here. Oh, what's her? I forget your name. You email me constantly, and I just forgot your name. I know you're in the chat. Stand by. I'm looking for a subscriber so I can give her mad props. I do know her name, Catherine Emma. Here we go. KM, whatever it is, whatever. This is just completely and totally creepy and disgusting, but I want to show it to you because, you know, science. Yarn grown. Now read this. Let's read this with me so I don't just sound crazy. You can sound crazy to yourself too. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Yarn grown from human skin cells could be knitted into your body. That's phenomenal, man. That's awesome. I can't wait. I cannot wait. This is just going to be phenomenal. It's fairly benign, but it's just completely and totally gross, because it's amazing that as much as I failed history, I failed math, I failed homeroom, I failed gym, I failed everything. I passed science. Donald Trump says, Richie, my kids love you. Nice. Thanks, Donald. Don, get your hair fixed, dude, or wear a hat and do it like me and Big Sib do and wear it backwards. Or don't. It's completely your call. At any rate, science, the way it's become, science no longer being science anymore and simply being occult black magic all over again, thinly veiled and hidden behind symbolism and occult symbols and etc. It bums me out because any scientist I mean, where are the scientists that are like me and you that come out, like that stand out in front of their office and say, this is all bullshit. Global warming is false. Well, Richie, it's warm in February in New England. It is. It is. And I have to admit that it's warm. It's warm. But guess what? They've been effing with the weather for 20, 30 years now. You can only push storms around and move them around and flood out this part of the country and make this other country drought and this, that, and the other thing. It's really warm in New England, but there's snow in the desert right now. And there has been for over 2 months. That's a problem. They don't make it go away. It's not like the entire earth is warming up. They're simply moving the weather around and effing up everything. Absolutely everything. They're killing the birds, they're killing the bees, and they're killing the trees. We'll be right behind them very shortly. So I'm still not buying it. I can't buy it because it isn't true. It isn't true. And me and 10,000 scientists would sign a petition to that effect, but nobody cares. It bums me out that science is just such. It bums me out that people would rather get funding for their scientific studies, even though they have to lie about preservatives, fluoride in the water, chemicals in the sky, heavy metals being sprayed out of the planes under the guise of bouncing the sunlight into outer space. It has to be more than just money, because how can they be so short-sighted? To be a scientist, you have to be fairly smart, correct? But how can you be so short-sighted? These guys are destroying creation purposefully. They're doing it on purpose. Satan can't create. He can't do what God did. He can tell man how to mimic it, but he can't do it. He can only mimic. He can't replicate. And he can also undo things. And that's exactly what we're seeing happening. God gave us dominion over the earth and the animals. What's happening? We've lost dominion over everything. We don't even have dominion over ourselves. We have to pay to live here. We have to pay to live here. Try not paying the powers that be to live here and see how long that works out. I'll wait. Oh. I know. Whatever. When's the last time you saw me use nasal spray? I'm just really bad tonight. I don't know why. At any rate, I know. I hear you. But there's so many of them that really, really believe wholeheartedly in this global warming ruse. How can you be somebody? How could you even be a weather person and not go, hey, wait a minute, this is all wrong? Every weatherman, because it used to be weathermen. Now it's all chicks with big boobs wearing blue or purple, almost exclusively. And every weatherman that said, oh, see this storm? It's not real. It's the military. Gone. You see what I'm saying? So it just bums me out. Long story short, when I see stories like this, even if this is good for some people, I still think it's horrible because I don't trust anything coming out of science whatsoever at all anymore. So there's that. And this was sent to me by Catherine Emma, if I'm saying that correctly. So there's that, and there's that. I don't know what sodium chloride is, dude. I have nasal spray. It works. I use it once in a while. No, it's not saline. That's gross. Anyone ever heard of remote viewing? Yes, it's called dancing with the devil. It's the shorter way to say it. Don't do that, Brenda. Don't do that. I'm telling you. All right, so check this out. I saw this and I thought it was interesting and it's amazing. You see the story and you can kind of see right through it. Look at this. I heard somebody talk. Oh, come on, stand by. I have to pause this because of the ads. Unbelievable. I'm hearing a lot of Christian channels or channels that are under the impression that Lord and, Jesus, God, amen, the Vatican somehow make you Christian. It's not accurate, but I'll digress. talking about wars and rumors of wars and earthquakes in various places. Well, here's the deal. These aren't biblical. See this? Early morning earthquake in Tennessee. They keep happening according to the mainstream. I'm not in Tennessee. I can't verify this, but according to the mainstream, this is happening over and over and over and over and over in Tennessee. Well, I got out my secret decoder ring and I found this is also happening in Tennessee. And it explains the non-biblical, where is it? Non-biblical earthquake origins. Take a look at this information right here that got completely ignored from the University of Tennessee. And it's talking about, this is from 2019, the potential contamination risk in Tennessee aquifers from oil and gas drilling or fracking. Fracadiliosis. When they ran out of other things to do, you know, stealing all the gold, stealing all the silver, tricking people into thinking that, you know, everybody being completely smoked by the national debt and any generations that would actually end up here. But I don't see, I feel bad for people with kids and grandkids because there's no future. There is no future. Let's seriously be honest here. The wheels are coming off the cart like bad, like unbelievably bad. It's been 50, 60 degrees. It's been 37 to 50 degrees for the last few weeks. January and February in New England are OMG cold. Walk outside and like, wow, this is cold. Like, wow, this is cold. It ain't like that anymore. They moved it around. You know, the desert's got snow all the time. Everybody on Instagram's posting pictures of them doing donuts out in Moab in the snow that's been there for a long time. It's bad. It's really, really bad. And I think I forgot my point. I did. Whatever. The earthquakes in Tennessee are directly correlated to these guys that have stolen. Here we go. I remember my point now. They've stolen all the gold. They've convinced people into thinking that the national debt just spinning like the odometer on my truck is no big deal. People that aren't even born yet in the United States already owe $60,000 in taxes. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And the worst thing about all of this isn't the fact that they're doing this, isn't the fact that they took every industry that Americans had and sent it to another country. Excuse me. I ate a wicked lot of lasagna. I'm so full, I can't stand it. Maybe that's why my nose is stuffed up. They stole all the natural resources. They make us pay to live here. People that aren't even born yet in the United States already owe the IRS, which is ridiculous. They stole all the gold. They stole all the silver. They filled everything that we eat with genetically modified whatever the F. All the water is fluoridated. The sky is completely loaded with heavy metals. The government doesn't think it's your business to even know what it is you're paying for, even though it's absolutely ridiculous to even pay to eat in the United States. But you're not even allowed to know what the chemicals that they're putting in your food are. It's none of your business. Just shut up and eat your atrazine. Okay? Shut up and eat your atrazine. Don't make us do a roundup. You know what I'm saying? It is so, 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 so sad. They stole all the oil. Gasoline is something we don't even need to run our vehicles anymore. And these dudes came up with something called fracking, which is awesome. It's just awesome. In a real world, this scientific paper released talking about the contamination risk of aquifers. You're not supposed to F with aquifers, man. Aquifers are fresh water underground. Yeah, it's fresh water, but we want to get some propane and we want to shoot some propane or some oil down there and this, that. I mean, these guys are just coming up with creepy new ways to destroy the earth. They want fire coming out of your faucet, and in some places they're getting it. But long story, even longer, the earthquakes in Tennessee, you might want to look at the fracking in Tennessee because the amount of fracking operations going on in Tennessee is stunning. These dudes stay fracking in Tennessee. So there is that. I'll leave you a link for that if you're so inclined, if you live in Tennessee, if you even care. So there it is. Yeah, gas is forced slavery. We could run our cars on water. We could run our cars on puddle water. We could run our cars on urine, salt water, anything. It's all gone. I put up a video a long time ago at Coral Castle showing how this dude made this place. Yeah, I don't care. This dude made this place down in Florida all by himself with a free energy machine that's sitting right there. It's all magnets. It's all perpetual motion. Everything could run on it. Elon Musk is becoming one of the wealthiest men ever because he owns SpaceX. He's not making money from any of this. He's making money because he's foisting this ridiculous idea that somehow you can take a straight rocket, shoot it up in the air, it goes and does whatever it does, and then it comes back down and lands all over again. You know what that is? It's bullshit. It's total, complete horse apples. The most unaerodynamic thing in the world isn't going to go up and then come back down again. But as long as the sheep keep buying it, they're going to keep fleecing the sheep. And that's just where we're at right now. So that's lame. Here's another scientific article. Remember when I used to do these back in the day, Richie's my favorite science articles of the week? Well, these are good ones because we live in a world where global warming, science is telling us that global warming is coming and it's going to kill everybody. Did this really just do that? Can you get out of here? According to science, sand dunes. Now stand by. You might want to take a sip of water. You might want to hug a loved one before I tell you this, because this is going to be so much ridiculousness in one sentence, your head might blow off. I can't make any guarantees. This is going to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever said, and I've said some shit over the years. So stand by. Let me blow this up for you. According to scientists, sand dunes, sand, well, they can communicate with each other. They're not very social, though, folks. Oh, sand dunes can communicate with each other, but they're not very social. That's good science right there. I mean, that's what children are learning. That's what millennials are learning. That's what passes for science. Greta Thunberg is the Time Person of the Year, but so wasn't shucks, what was his name? I don't know. Adolf Hitler. You know what I mean? It's just what they do. It's just what they do. And the sheep buy it up. The Pope Francis is the most beloved Pope ever. Who said that? Time Magazine. Mainstream media. Mainstream media, if you use it, is hypnotizing you on so many levels. It's amazing. The person quacking the script at you is putting you under a spell. The background behind them spinning around is putting you under a spell. The digital television flicker rate is putting you under a spell. The colors flashing on and off are putting you under a spell. The frequencies emitting so high you can't even hear them, but you can, are putting you under a spell. Do you know what that spells? It spells turn off your effing television and throw it away. You don't need a television. Seriously. But what do I know? Because science says sand dunes can communicate with each other. And notice there's a little triangle right there. Just a little happy, super fun triangle for America. That's an American triangle for Donald Trump in 2020. Oh. We live in a world where my butler has a better chance of winning for president. You have Bloomberg, Biden, and Trump. I don't know who else is. Oh, what's the other dude? Bernie, Biden, Bloomberg, and Trump. Bernie, Biden, Bloomberg, and Trump. That is like a pedophile trifecta plus Trump. I mean, Trump didn't go to Epstein. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, he did. See, I don't know what the word. See, if Big Sib was here, he would know what the word for trifecta 4 would mean. But I don't. So whatever. It's unbelievable, unbelievable, unbelievable. Absolutely, totally, completely unbelievable. What is this? Oh, check this out. You want to see what the mainstream thinks of you? And pretty much everyone you know, check this out. This is a close-up image of the sun. Remember, I just literally just showed you pictures of the moon that I took with a camera on a tripod on Earth. A camera that weighs less than 1.5 pounds. I took images like this. Like that. I mean, dude, maybe you do or maybe you don't know anything about astronomical binoculars, telescopes, astrophotography, moon videoing, stargazing, but I've been doing it my entire life. This is ridiculous footage. Ridiculous footage. And pretty much anybody can do it with a P900 or a P1000. But science has presented us with pictures of the sun close up. Look at these. And these close-up photos of the sun could help us forecast space weather. Space weather, ladies and gentlemen. Because after they're done effing up with climate change, they're going to space. They're telling us that's a close-up picture of the sun. Well, have you ever looked at those YouTube channels or websites that show you real pictures that real photographers take of things really close up and it's crazy? I'll tell you what, that ain't the sun. That's like a cornflake or an old lady's elbow or something benign like linoleum. That could be the bottom of a urinal at a Papagino's or a Burger King. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't the sun. And according to this article, they're saying each one of these little creepy cubes, which is probably a dead skin cell on an elderly woman's elbow. I sound like a Pearl Jam song. Half of you probably don't know who Pearl Jam is, but again, I digress. That's dumb. The sun is the same exact size as the moon. Do you know how you can tell? Because you can see them. At this point right now on Earth, we can still go outside and look up and go, hey, the moon and the sun are the exact same size. You know how you can tell? Because you can see it. Do you know why you don't think that, or you may not think that? Because science said, no, 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 no. You see that white thing? That's the moon. That's the moon. And it's about, 250,000 miles away. 250,000 miles away. It's about a quarter the size of the Earth. And yeah. Oh, and it doesn't spin. Everything else we've ever shown you, everything spins around at ridiculous speeds. But that one, the one you can actually see, yeah, she no spin too much. You know, she just sits right there. It's all good. Now, the sun, on the other hand, is enormous. And it's 93 million miles away. You buying that? 93 million miles away. But somehow, this star that's 93 million miles away is what heats our Earth. Has anyone ever sat down and done the math and the science and the physics behind all of that one statement? It's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. It's laughable. How many times in your life have you seen personally or seen photos from someone that you know that took pictures of the moon rising? And it's enormous. It's huge. And as it rises, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller till it turns into the little white happy fellow that we're all used to up in the sky. And then when it sets, many times it does the same thing, but the sun does as well. Do you know why? Because when something's standing on the ground in front of you, you can see it for the size that it is. Let's say you had an effigy of Bernie Sanders and you jammed a giant. How about this? Here we go. Hold on. Let me just fix things around so I don't knock things over. Let's say you had a life-size silicone doll of Bernie Sanders or Bloomberg or Joe Biden, and you also had a friend who was a Palestinian, and in his spare time, he built rockets, and your Palestinian friend loaned you a rocket. You took it and jammed it into the life-size doll of Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Bloomberg. Before you light the fuse of this rocket that your friend gave you in his spare time, this life-size figure of Biden, Bernie Sanders, you get what I'm saying here, would be normal size. You light the fuse on the rocket that your Palestinian friend gave you, and as they go whizzing up into the sky, they get smaller and smaller and smaller. That's how things work. That's perspective. That's what you see. When you see the moon rising, see, I live on the ocean, so I see the moon before most of you do because I live right here. Next stop is Europe or whatever. Who even knows? But next stop is way out in the ocean. When the moon rises, it's its actual size. It's big. Them telling us that the moon and the sun are these two dramatically different. The moon's much smaller than the earth, and the sun's much larger than the earth, and the sun's so far away, and the moon's very, very close. But when they pass in front of each other, you can't see one or the other completely. They block each other out perfectly. That's just a coincidence, dude. Dude, it's a coincidence. It's a coincidence. Don't worry about it. Stop thinking. Bill Nye made a milk carton boat that shows you, so you'll know. You see what I mean? So keep that in mind. At any rate, long story short, you see this? That's corn. It's a linoleum floor. It's an old lady's elbow. It's a lot of things, but I'll tell you what it ain't. It ain't the sun. That's complete and utter nonsensical bull stuffing. Period. Period. But I guess I'm going to digress on that. It's really hard to believe that this is occurring in our lifetime. A life-size blow-up doll of Bill Gates? Yeah, but you'd have to lean it against something because Bill Gates is fragile and floppy and flimsy. You know what I mean? He's like what that looks like, even though that's the serpent mound. But you see what I'm saying? So, at any rate, Sugar Puff cereal, exactly. Super Sugar Crisp, that was delicious. I would eat way too much of that when I was a kid. Yep, somebody else said it too. Yeah, at any rate. All right, guys. I think I'm going to digress. Caramel popcorn. Oh, it's magic. Nothing to see here, folks. Keep moving along. Hey, how come the sun and the moon are the same size? What are you, a conspiracy theorist? Listen to Bill Nye or Greta or any one of the number of actors, actresses. I mean, gee, the president of the United States, that 50% or more of the truth community completely, everything they ever told you, they turned on it right there and then and said, Trump's one of us. He's going to fix. Trump's an actor. He's an actor. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. Another time I had to be a jerk. Hey, everybody, how come everyone suddenly forgot everything they've ever known and think Trump's going to help us? Trump ain't one of us. We're on our own, people. And that's why they're trying to shut us up. They're doing a pretty damn good job. Yeah, I've heard that before. I could, but that time's come and gone. You know what I mean? I'm sure he is. They all are. Yep. Sand dunes equals, I can see that coming. I can see that coming. Indeed. Indeed. I just said seven. Yeah. Plus, if I was doing comedy, I would be, I'd be in jail. They would put me in jail. I would, my mouth gets going big time. Well, Sib explained to us what a hypocrite means. I listened to that video to this day. Tikkun Alam. I have it saved. I tried to upload it on my channel and I got a copyright strike, which is ridiculous, but whatever. Hypocrites are two-faced actors, which is why they do those Golden Globes and all these. These people give themselves awards and Americans sit there and watch and talk about. I have family members whose lives consist of nothing except talking about, did you know that Rush Limbaugh's got lung cancer? Who cares? Who cares? Did you know that they're spraying heavy metal in the sky and you're breathing it in and it's going to get worse? Did you know you're drinking fluoride? Did you know that? Did you know that? It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Did you know that we're the only species? We have dominion over the animals given to us by the Heavenly Father above. And yet the joke's on us, Jack, because we have to pay to live here. And nobody has a problem with that. Richie from Boston. I'm out.